This is another episode of Standup Comedy, your host and MC, celebrating 40-plus years on the fringe of show business. Stories, interviews, and comedy sets from the famous and not so famous. Here's your host and MC, Scott Edwards.
Hi, and welcome to this week's show. Man, we got some more great stand-up comedy for you. I've mentioned in previous shows that back in the late 80s, early 90s, I produced a series of live outdoor concerts called Laughs in the Park, where we utilized William Land Park, and it was a free family event where we would provide 12 to 15 different stand-up comics, entertainment for the kids, including clowns and jugglers, and just a whole lot of free family fun. It was sponsored by the Sacramento Police Department, a local radio station, Y92, and the Sacramento Bee, a local paper. On this particular show, later on, you'll hear comic musician Robert Aquayo, who's a regular on this podcast, also one of the DJs from the radio station, Paul Robbins. But in the first segment, I have two great comics that you've heard before on this show, but not from this live version. Closing the first segment, my good friend and comedian, Steve Bruner. He is a terrific, clean comic. He does a lot of corporates. You can also hear him on Dry Bar Comedy. He's been very successful and been doing stand-up as a pro for over 30 years. But this was back in 1991 when he was still just getting started. And to warm things up, our first act is a local favorite. He was an MC at one of my clubs for a couple years, worked locally in Northern California, but his main career was as a photographer for the Sacramento Bee. He is a terrific guy, terrific photographer, and not a bad stand-up comic. I know you'll enjoy him, so sit down and relax. We have some great stand-up comedy from August of 1991, live Laughs at the Park. Here's the first act, Bentoni.
Well, we're just getting warmed up. I think it's a good time to mention to everybody in the audience. By the way, by applause, how many people here in the crowd, this is your first time seeing a comedy show? By applause. Okay, by applause, how many people have never seen comedy before? Okay, pretty much the same people. I think that's important. We want to mention that comedy is basically a form of free speech, and that generally speaking, and especially at Laughs Unlimited, the shows are meant for an adult-only audience. You must be 18 and over even to go to Laughs Unlimited. The entertainers have adjusted their material for this afternoon, but we would like to mention that if you find anything offensive, call the city. With that in mind, we're going to bring up our next entertainer. You guys ready for more? Beautiful crowd, beautiful. Best crowd in the park today. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to the stage, the official house master of ceremonies at our Citrus Heights Laughs Unlimited location, a local comedian and very, very funny. Please, a nice big round of applause, Bentoni, right here.
Thank you very much, and boy, welcome to the park. What a crowd! You guys look great. This is big. Do I look all right? I got a haircut for this. Is this all right? Oh, thank you. The people in the back are applauding like they can actually see it. But I went to Supercuts. This is why I'm wondering, which is very frightening. Of course, you know, all know that their motto is, you know, if you don't look good, big freaking deal. You know, they don't care as long as they get their $6. They get their money. You walk home looking like Morton Downey Jr. They don't care. The skinheads are after Morton Downey. It seems like they're after all the talk show hosts, doesn't it? Who was it? Geraldo months ago. You guys, did you see this? Nobody? Geraldo Rivera, I guess. It's going to make his mother happy to know that everyone loves when he gets his face broken. That's nice. Well, evidently there were some neo-Nazis in his audience that just had enough of his stuff and picked up a chair and smacked him in the face. And now, if I was Geraldo, I would feel kind of bad to know that even other jackasses hate my guts, wouldn't you? I mean, these guys don't like you. Haven't picked on Oprah yet. They haven't picked on Oprah. I guess I should stand clear of Oprah. And she lost a lot of weight. She looks good, doesn't she? Sure. It's commendable. She lost. Of course, I think she's wasting her time, actually, because people are going to always remember Oprah as that fat lady that lost all the weight. Don't you think? Because I remember back when she was really big about a year ago. Did you see it when Ann Landers was on? Ann Landers was on her show talking about Talking about the pencil test. Any ladies know what this is? This is Ann Lander's practical test for ladies to determine whether or not they need to wear a bra. Let me explain it. If you don't know what this is the way Ann Landers describes it is you take a pencil, if you're a woman, you stand naked, you put a pencil underneath your breast, let go of it, and if it hits the floor, I'm talking about the pencil now, you guys are getting ahead of me. If the pencil hits the floor, Ann says you don't need to wear any kind of support, but if it stays up there, apparently you need something there. And I'm watching this, I'm thinking, here's Ann Landers describing the pencil test to a woman who couldn't pass the typewriter test. She's a big woman, you know, able to hold an IBM Selectric under each boob. That's a little large, I think. She's working on it, though. That's nice. But now, how about this guy, Walter Hudson, been in the news? This real fat guy, 1,200 pounds. I'm sure you've heard of this guy. He dropped down to a good svelte 800 now. I'm sure he looks terrific. And at 1,200 pounds, he wasn't even the world's record holder. Now, I don't know if you know this, but the world's record fattest man ever, according to Guinness, is 1,490 pounds. Yeah. Hard to imagine. And this is what's hard for me to imagine, is the fact that the guy before him, the previous record, was only 1,069. So there's like 400 pounds difference between the two records, and I'm thinking, where were the scientists when this guy weighed 1,007? When he finally broke the record, you'd think someone 1,000 pounds, people would be following around, you know, trying to give him a couple dozen pizzas and donuts to get him over the line, but no. They waited till he's 3/4 of a ton to, boom, put him in the book there. It's like, I suppose maybe his weight fluctuates like the rest of ours, I don't know. What do you weigh, pal? 950, 1,500, right in there, you know. Let me put this into perspective. Here's a guy, if he lost 400 pounds, he'd still have to lose another 500 pounds just to weigh 600 pounds. This could get you in some kind of a book anyway. How many people, let me find this out, how many people, just applaud if you're at least 30 years old. Just clap if you're at least 30. All right. Now applaud if you think being 30 is old. All right, folks, I think we can take them. I think, I've been asking everybody this because I got a birthday next week. A week from today, I'm going to be 33. I don't think it's old. I think 30 is quite young. I'm still holding my own, which, yeah, of course, I'd like someone else to hold it for me for a while, sure, yeah. I don't know if you people in the back can see from where you're standing, but I'm holding my own right now as I'm talking to you. This is the most fun I've had all afternoon, so don't worry, I'll be done in just a second. So, you get 33, that's what happens. All right. Yeah, let me tell you what made me feel old. I was at a party not too long ago. I met this very, very young girl, and I didn't think we'd have anything in common, but she said she was a big fan of the Beatles, and of course I'm a big fan of the Beatles too, but she said she liked them because she thought one of them looked exactly like Julian Lennon. So I had to explain that to her. She thought I was old because I could remember when John Lennon was still alive and still making records. You know, I can remember when Paul McCartney was dead and still making records. You guys remember that? Yes, the people over 30 do. Now, last year for my birthday, my friends took me out to Benihana's for dinner. This is a nice place, a fancy restaurant where they prepare the food right there at your place. Very spectacular. They're flinging knives around in front of you and everything. And this is fine if you've been there before and are prepared for it, but I wasn't. So it scared me to death when I noticed the guy's name tag said trainee. You know, this is what you want to see when you're trying to eat. Now, you think of gourmet food, I think first of escargot. Now, applaud if you've ever eaten escargot. Oh my God. Maybe you didn't realize it was snails when you ordered it, but that's what it is, folks. And I'd be terrified to order it, you know, because, first of all, I'd be afraid of what might happen if I decide to put salt on my food. Wouldn't that be scary? Oh, yeah. Nothing like seeing your entree become soup, huh? Oh, man. Anyway, very scary. So we got George Bush as our president. You guys happy with this? George Bush, Dan Quayle? No? Suddenly it's a political rally. Now, this is true. This is true. During the convention, there was a quote in the paper by George Bush. He said, if Dan Quayle and I ever get to the White House, we're going to get hold of the American public like a couple of pit bulls. And there was a picture of these two wimpy guys standing there, you know, pit bull's a vicious animal. These two guys look like a couple of Mormons that just lost their bikes. You know what I'm saying? Just not very threatening, anyway. Now, they've been in office for about 6 months, haven't done anything. That feels more like they've gotten hold of us like a couple of horny poodles, doesn't it? Which poodles aren't even dogs anyway, they're just cats in drags, in my theory. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with this real quickly here. Now, what was the basketball game? The Pistons won today. You guys happy about that? Another rally. This is the thing that got me, is because I didn't get to watch it on TV, but I heard some of the highlights on the radio, and there's a clue for you. If you ever get a chance to listen to basketball on the radio, pass this up. This is 48 minutes, nothing but 10 pairs of size 15 sneakers pounding on a hardwood floor. It'll drive you insane. How long can you listen to this? Like I said, I was in my car. I thought my front tire was about to pop loose, or the fan belt was going to blow or something. Very, very scary. So I got a rotten car. I got a 1962 Rambler American I'm trying to named Rambo. It's got 15 different colors of paint showing through it, so it has that camouflage look as it goes down the road. The front bumper's twisted in the front. Looks a lot like Stallone. And every morning when I go to start it, it sounds exactly like Rambo. I just turn the key and... That's it. I gotta get that fixed, I guess. You guys do this when you hear a new funny noise in the engine, you don't know what it is? Do you fix it by turning up the radio a little bit louder? Does that help you out any? Anyway, you guys have been terrific, and you've got a fabulous show ahead of you. Thank you for coming out here tonight, and keep supporting comedy. My name's Bentoni.
Bentoni, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a special question asked by the city. They'd like to ask that everybody stay out of the lake, as tempting it is to jump into the green water over there. And I'd like to ask that you do not partake in any swimming or diving. No diving. It's all of 3 inches deep, so no diving. Ladies and gentlemen, comedy, comedy, comedy. Having a good time? Jeez, let's hear more. Yes. I got my cue cards. I'm ready. Ladies and gentlemen, our next entertainer. Now, this guy, it's a special treat to have him up here joining us this afternoon. He is from Southern California. He is the winner of the Northern California Johnny Walker Red Comedy Competition. He's from Los Angeles, California, and just recently married. Ooh. Now, you're supposed to act impressed, folks. Ooh. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause, Steve Bruner.
Thank you, people. Nice to see everybody. What a fantastic day it is for comedy, have to admit that. But now and then, you'll see something that just makes your day perfect. Like today, I saw a Ferrari with a flat tire. Yeah, it felt good seeing that. Felt better doing it. Actually, I shouldn't talk about driving in any way, shape, or form, because comes right down to it, I don't really own a car. I own a Chevette. Just not really a car when you're passed by your own exhaust. See, now most cars, you buy them, you want to feel like you own the road. In the Chevette, I pretty much got timeshare in a pothole. It's kind of worse than that, because I'm driving the Chevette diesel. What was the thought process here? It's like all the engineers got together and said, how can we possibly make the Chevette slower? And we want it to shake a lot. That's so important in a car. Gosh, if we could get it to smell bad, I think we've got a package here. Not a very fast car. I think that's kind of obvious. I got pulled over for doing 70. The police officer gave me a ribbon. I'm driving the official pace car of a tractor pull. The Chevette diesel was voted Car of the Year by the Amish. And now they've got these cars that talk to you. Cars that are saying things like, keys are in the ignition. Which doesn't help me at all. I always lose my keys, never, when they're in the ignition. That's about the only time I'm sure where the hell the keys are. Like I'm driving. Never have I been in my car thinking, where the hell are my keys? About to merge on a freeway, asking the guy next to me, do you know where my keys are? That doesn't happen. If you're anything like me, we don't need a car that says keys are in the ignition. What we need is a car where you open the door and it says keys are behind the couch. Now, I've got friends that party a little bit more than I do. They say, hey, Steve, great idea. A car that tells you where the keys are. But geez, after a long Saturday night when I'm kind of hungover, I'd appreciate the keys telling me where the car is. Actually, it comes right down to it, I'm just damn glad the Chevette doesn't talk to me. It'd probably whine. How much further? I am the only guy I know that owns a car cover out of embarrassment. I use it when I drive. I would love to find a bumper sticker, something appropriate for the Chevette. Like, if you can read this, you must be parked. I should have read the brochure that came with the car. The Chevette manual actually says on the first page, 0 to 70, pack a lunch. I've been trying to figure out where the heck they got this name. It's like first they came out with a Corvette, now they've got the Chevette. Like somebody's gonna be confused. This is like calling a car a Yugo Benz. And don't get me wrong, I'm happy they came out with cars like the Yugo, because when you're driving a Chevette, there aren't many cars you can make fun of. Well, I live in LA now, I just got married, the wedding was a lot of fun, I have to admit that, except it was kind of wild. My wife had like 8 bridesmaids walking down the aisle with her. I didn't even have 8 friends that would rent tuxes. In fact, when I rented the tuxes, I had to rent the mannequins with them, just put them right up alongside of it. The fun part about the wedding was that I got to buy gifts for everybody in it, and I got to buy a gift for the little ring bearer. My God, have toys changed from when I was growing up. Like, Mr. Potato Head has children now. Honest to God, they're called tater tots. Now, that's not what bugs me. What bugs me is, when did Mr. Potato Head get the right snap-on parts to make those kids? And that's what just kind of... Weirdest thing, I mean, I hate being in a restaurant, having somebody say, oh, don't order the veal. In order to get that, they had to kill those poor little baby calves. Like, the chicken on their plate committed suicide. That's me every single time. You pretty much have to be careful what you eat. I have to admit that, because a couple nights ago I had a pizza right before I went to sleep. Ever eat a bad pizza that just kind of makes you dream funny? I dreamt there was this huge cookie at the door selling Girl Scouts. It was the wildest thing in the world. Not only that, there are the weirdest foods in the world. I was in Texas about 2 months ago. I went into a 7-Eleven. They were selling pickled pig's feet in a clear jar. Now, the people that want pickled pig's feet know what they look like. The people that don't want them shouldn't have to see them. In fact, the people that don't want them shouldn't even have to see the people that do want them. Weirdest thing about the pickled pig's feet, they were sitting in the clear jar right next to the cash register as I was leaving. Like pickled pig's feet are some sort of impulse buy. And then I walk into one of our fast food restaurants. This is right in Sacramento. Walk into a fast food restaurant, I asked for a drink, they handed me a cup. They said, go over there, pour it yourself. I was afraid to ask for fries. I thought they'd give me a knife and a potato. What kind of business? I hope the outfit's okay. I didn't know how to dress. I was a little worried. I know you guys in the back can't see way over there. Sorry about that. But I was a little worried, because I think we all know that Sacramento is the fashion-conscious capital of the world. And, well, that's what they told me in Dixon, anyway. So. Actually, fashion trends just escape me, especially women's fashions these days, because for the longest time, ladies have been wearing the shoulder pad, which is a little confusing to me, because heck, I remember back when the pads win the brawl. Just like one day during aerobics, did they just kind of slip out? Just like one gal says, that looks good. Keep that. Or maybe they're just kind of moving up and around. It's like some sort of fashion migration. It's like next to man, I had the big puffy shoulder blades, and then the big puffy butt pads. Ooh. I think we're all tingling at that idea. I think a guy's biggest nightmare in the whole world would be taking out a gal wearing the big shoulder pads, and later he finds out they're her real shoulders. I think that would scare anybody. Boy, there's a lot of parents, a lot of kids. Parents, whew, there's a tough job. Whoa. Damn easy job to get, though. I think most people love that interview. Actually, you don't have to dress for it. Actually, parents are kind of doughheads when they start out. Otherwise, they wouldn't say such dumb things to their kids, like, "Don't you get smart." Okay. Well, thanks for setting goals I can reach. Then, of course, they say they're teaching us by example. And then they go, "That'll teach you not to hit your brother." Yeah. The silliest thing my folks ever said, they say the dumbest things in the world. Silliest thing I remember hearing when I was growing up is when the folks told me, "Keep your hands to yourself." Because later they say, if you do that, you'll go blind. Oh. And then parents are always telling you all kinds of, it didn't matter what I wanted to play with, what I asked for Christmas or birthday, I was going to poke my eye out with it. It didn't matter. I'd ask for the BB gun. Nope. You could poke your eye out with that. Everybody on the block would be playing with water balloons. I couldn't join them. I was going to poke my eye out with that. Just one time I wanted my mom to point out some old man with an eye patch. "Gee, mister, are you a war veteran?" "Nope, water balloon accident." Just got the haircut. I'm happy with the do this time. I hate getting my hair cut. I hate any situation where you put a complete stranger that can't decide on their own hair color and you say, "Here's my social life, run with it." I think I hate it so much because I've had so many nightmare cuts in the past. Just let me warn you, never go to a place called Bulls R Us. Especially if their motto is, if you don't look good, wear a hat. Not the way it should be. See, when I get my hair cut, I want the person to give me choices. I want them to say, what would you like, Mr. Bruner? Would you like kind of new wave, kind of punk rock, kind of sea monkey? What are you looking for? Instead, Bulls R Us just gave me two choices. Regular and conversation piece. Not the way it should be. I think what bugs me most about the last bad haircut I got is the guy promised I looked like somebody out of Greek mythology, and I had completely forgotten about Medusa. Playing golf the other day, golf's a fun sport, except you just can't have a beer and do better at golf. I found out I could throw the club a lot farther, that's about it. In fact, there's only one sport in the entire world that you can actually do better when you drink. Bowling. Right? I know we got some bowlers out there. First of all, you have to be drunk to think of those shirts as fashion. Not only that, last time I went bowling, had a couple beers, I did a lot better. Because it's a hell of a lot easier knocking down 10 pins when you're looking at 20. Talking about parents. I think parents are the most fun. My mom is where I get my sense of humor, because she'd walk into a joke. It's like I'd come into the house, she'd say, "Don't slam the door." And I don't want to have to tell you twice. What? Don't slam the door. And I don't want to have to tell you. I could never confuse my dad, though. He was the most confusing guy I ever met in my entire life. I can remember the big conversation I had with him about telling him no. It was, "Don't ever tell me no. You tell me no, I'll give you a beating. Do you want a beating?" Maybe. Oh, I was a very very obnoxious kid. I was especially obnoxious at big family gatherings. Because somebody always made fun of how young I looked. Because I was like, well, Steve, are you shaving yet? No, I'm saving up. So I can grow a mustache like you, Aunt Betty. Aunt Betty, worst thing about Aunt Betty is she'd start every sentence the exact same way. It was always, well. First time I heard this, I hit her. I thought she was skipping. Then, of course, there's the most fun I ever had at one of the big family dinners. That's when my mom told me, all right now, Steve, eat every carrot and pee on your plate. I was grounded for weeks. Boy, I got in one hell of a good shot at Aunt Betty, though. Keep supporting comedy. You guys are a lot of fun. Let's do it again.
Mr. Steve Bruner!
That was Steve Bruner live at the 1991 Laughs in the Park concert. I know you're enjoying this stuff because it was really fun to do at the time. And what's great is all these years later, the comedy still stands. As I mentioned, there was about 13,000 people at this last one in 1991, and just so much fun. Well, let's keep the comedy energy going. Coming up, closing this segment, comic musician Robert Aquayo. He's out of Venice Beach. He's got a couple records out, a very talented musician, and a regular headlining comic at clubs all over the country. Before we get to him, a local DJ from radio station Y92 and a good friend of mine, Paul Robbins, very talented entertainer, was on Y92, but he played in a lot of radio stations around the country. He ended up actually as one of the answer guys on the Discovery Channel on TV. And even for a short bit, he and his partner, Phil Cowan, had their own TV show. So a guy that's had a lot of experience, and part of that was as a stand-up comedy at my club, Laughs Unlimited. He only did stand-up for a few years, but we were lucky to get him live at this show at Laughs in the Park. So sit back and enjoy Paul Robbins and Robert Aquayo. Here's Paul.
Hi, how's everybody doing? Okay? Killer day for this, isn't it? Turned out great. It is nice to be here. I'm Paul Robbins. If you don't know, I hold the record as the Sac State graduate who has been fired the most since graduating in 1979. Acts from most radio and TV stations in the United States. And it's great to be here. Any Sac State people here today? Thank you. That class of 79. I'm a Hornet through and through. Big Hornet fan. I have yellow and green underwear. It was white when I got it, but it's mostly, yellow and green now. So, it's kind of neat that we did this day in the park, and there's lots of families out there, and I think it's nice that on the whole we're doing nice, clean humor. You're going to find I have a very clean act. I don't do anything disgusting or foul or gross or... I'm sorry about that. That doesn't happen very often. So, I was going to do some ethnic jokes. I really like doing ethnic jokes, but seeing as how it's a real family day out here, and I don't want to make anybody mad, I decided I wasn't going to do them. But then I got this great idea. Okay, here's my idea. I've created this group of people. See, I call them Corbonians. I just made them up, and I can tell Corbonian jokes all I like, and nobody gets offended. Okay, so a quick Corbonian joke. Okay, these two black Corbonians are walking along. I gotta make sure I get in a good plug for my radio station while I'm here. See if this thing works. Here we go. I'm Casey Kasem. Welcome back to the countdown. Next up on 1840, the long-distance dedication from the young man in Boot Hill, and the letter begins, Dear Casey, I'm writing to you, hoping maybe you'll understand my problem. You see, Casey, I work in a morgue, and as a result, I have very few friends. When I can get a date, as soon as the girl finds out what I do, she gets turned off. Casey, it's been very frustrating. But recently someone walked into my life that's changed all that. Well, she didn't exactly walk in, Casey. She was wheeled in with a tag on her toe. That's right, Casey. She's dead. And I know that what I'm feeling is wrong, but somehow I can't help myself. There's something about the way that she doesn't look at me. Well, Casey, the funeral's just 3 days away. And how can I tell a stiff that I love her? Could you help me, Casey? Could you please play that great song by the Rolling Stones, She's So Cold? Okay, we do this, we do the morning show, CARE FM 92.5, Monday through Friday. Anybody hear that show occasionally? Ho, ho! All right, and what we do occasionally is we play really stupid games and give away really crappy prizes. And a game we play very often is called Believe It or Die, where we read titles from these trashy tabloid magazines. We make up two, and one of them's real, and if you can pick the real one, you win the crappy prize, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to play that here live and in person. It'll be great. It'll be a lot of fun. Now, I live about 4 minutes away. I left him at home, but trust me, I have for you, for some lucky person in our audience tonight, a pair of Robbins & Cowan CARE commuter coffee mugs. Ooh. And passes to Waterworld USA, so it's not so bad. And I want you to practice, okay? I'm going to read you 3 titles. You try and guess which one really came from a trashy tabloid magazine. Here we go. Title number 1, Doctors Amazed, Dead Woman Becomes Pregnant. Title number 2, Doctors Amazed, Paralyzed Man Grows Second Set of Legs and Walks. Title number 3, Doctors Amazed, Blind Woman Gives Birth to Baby Wearing Sunglasses. What do you think? 1, 2, 3? Number 1. That was number 1, okay? How many of you got that right? Okay, here we go. I'll try another one. There's a couple more practice rounds. Title number 1, At Last, Whatever Happened to Elvis's Undies? Title number 2, Texas to begin mass executions by building electric sofa. Title number 3, Cruel Thugs lock elderly couple in basement and fart in keyhole. That was number 1. That was Elvis's Undies. That was the real one. Okay, one more practice round and then we're going to play. Title number 1, Dolly Parton suffers collapsed lung, 2 killed, 7 injured. Title number 2, Ed Asner's Bizarre Last Wish. When I die, I want the hair on my back made into a throw rug for Mary Tyler Moore. Title number 3, Groom burst into flame at wedding as hundreds of guests watch. Okay, you're getting very good at this. That was number 3. Here we go. We kind of don't have telephones or anything, so who'd like to play this game? I saw this lady right back here in the yellow sweatshirt there. Hi, what's your name? Imogene, ready to play? If you miss Imogene, we're going on to somebody else, so it's a lot of pressure. Here we go. Is it title number 1, Imogene, Cruel Pet Store Owner Teaches Cats to Smoke? Title number 2, Woman Eats Dirt for 24 years and Turns to Stone. Title number 3, Boy with No Tongue Takes 2 years to Finish Tootsie Pop. Imogene, you say 2. Title number 2, we have a winner, Imogene, ladies and gentlemen. When I'm done, I'll come out there and we'll take care of it. Okay, sure. Okay, a quick joke for you, one to take home and tell at the office tomorrow. These 2 Scotsmen are walking through the woods, okay? And one of them has to do a number 2, okay? So he goes off behind this tree, and a couple of minutes later, he shouts out, Angus, you got any paper? The guy shouts back, for God's sake, man, leave it there. Thank you.
Hello, Americans, this is Paul Harvey. Stand by for news. But first, this page 1, are you tired of the same thing for breakfast every morning, the same old thing? Well, shake those breakfast time blues. May I suggest that you consider Taco Bell? That's Taco Bell? With such a wide variety of Americanized Mexican dishes, let me tell you, Mrs. Harvey and the Harvey kids just can't get enough. And Don't believe what you hear, friends. We chow down to a Mexican breakfast most every morning, and we smell fine in the afternoon. And so, like the song says, come to Taka Taka. Taka Taka. Taco Bell? Page 2. It seems as though early this morning in Los Angeles, California, a young man climbed to the top of an elementary school building armed with a rifle. Shots rang out, frightened toddlers scattered in all directions. Terror was in session. The grisly scene came to an end as several LAPD SWAT teams converged on the school, and 25 automatic weapons were leveled at the sniper, and his life, too, was tragically taken. One humorous note to this story. It seems as though the hail of bullets from the automatic weapons was so fierce that the young man's head was severed from his body, and rolled off the rooftop. Falling 2 stories, the assassin's head passed directly through a basketball hoop on the playground below. It was heard sometime later between 2 young police officers. Said the one, he said, you know, he said, I bet he couldn't make that shot twice. Paul Harvey, good day.
From Care Radio, Paul Robbins. Be sure to listen tomorrow morning, and he'll mention all of your names individually. Anyway, you guys are just too nice.
Of course.
Shh, no alcohol. Right here, we're having no alcohol, right, folks? Yeah, we're all blind. Ladies and gentlemen, we got more comedy for you, but right now we have, I keep saying this, but it's true, this is such an event when it comes to comedy. Right now, not only a very funny comedian, but also a very talented musician who just released an album. He's from Los Angeles, California, actually where he resides at Venice Beach, and he'll be headlining this week at Birdcage Walk. Please, a nice big round of applause, Robert Aquayo. Right here, Robert Aquayo.
This is too much. Wow, all right. Hey, I want to tell you, I drove up especially for this trip on Highway 5, and boy, that's a pretty drive. Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you've been just let out of prison. It's real nice. The nice thing about that drive is, you don't even have to look to see where you're going. You can just tell by sense of smell. It's like, Coalinga, all right, I'm halfway there. And I came up here because I got offered a job recently at Rancho Seco, so I'm kind of pissed. Yeah, anyway, it's so nice to see so many of the families here. We got moms, we got dads, we got kids. But not everyone should be a parent. You know why there's so many creeps in the world? Because creeps have kids. Not everyone's cut out to be a parent. They make you take a test before you can drive a car. There should be some tests before you can be a parent. It's true. Let's face it, some people are too stupid to have kids. Let's weed these people out. Stomp them on the forehead so we all know. Have questions they ask you like, where do you live? Where do you work? Do you think Elvis is still alive? Oh yeah, he's alive. Guess I won't have no kids. Some people are too selfish to have kids. You know those people that park their car in 2 spaces? Oh, they love their car. To them, that car's like a work of art. To a baby, that's a porta potty. Now, if you're thinking of having kids and you don't already have them, I recommend you get a pet first. Yeah, you can decide if you want to take care of something. You got a lot more options. Like when you got a kid and he gets sick, no matter what the doctor says, you got to do. That's your kid. You got to take care of him. But when the vet says to you, well, it'll be $800 to fix Fluffy, you go, well, we can get another cat. They're giving them away at the mall. Some people are the wrong combinations to have kids. Individually, the people might be fine. They're just the wrong combination. You take a man with a big forehead, woman with a long chin, the kid is going to look like a football. Before you're allowed to have a kid, they should have like a police sketch artist come out and make a composite drawing. No, too ugly. And then the moms always drive around with the kid, and they have this sign that says something like, caution, baby on board. Is this supposed to make you drive better? Like if you don't have one of these signs, hey, it's okay to plow into me. Is your life worth less as you get older? Should grandpa have a sign? Kill me, I'm retired. Why is a baby's life worth more than mine? I pay taxes. I have teeth. I don't wet my pants that often. If they really want to make you pay attention, it should say, caution, baby driving. And how do we know these people are telling the truth? Like every time they leave their house without their kid, do they take that sign down? I don't think so. Next time you see one, check. If there's not a baby in the car, go, hey, there's no baby in there. And now the moms always put the kid in this special little seat in the back seat. 20 years from now, there'll be all these kids on psychiatrist couches going, Mommy, I could never reach my mommy. When we were growing up, you felt secure. Parents put you right on the lap. Oh, good thing you're there, little Tommy. Daddy might have got hurt. So let's get a little music here. I'd like to start off with a song for the nerds. I don't know if you know this or not, but they breed nerds in the basement of Sears. Almost lost my guitar. Okay, we'll put a little distortion. All right, there we go. Distortion!
Yeah! Heavy metal!
Alright, dude. Okay. Alright, spell metal. Okay. So, yeah, like I said, they breed nerds in the basement of Sears. So this is dedicated to all the nerds. You've seen them down there. You know, they come out of the cocoon and they're salesmen in the Howard department. Yeah. Little song for the nerds. They called me a wimp, called me a nerd, called me every bad name I ever heard. They all laughed at me, they all had their fun. Now it's my turn. I bought a gun. Girl said I might take them out on a date. If I'm the last guy on earth, then I don't mind the wait. They gave me phone numbers, not the right ones. Big joke. I got a gun. I'm going to the top of the shopping mall. I'll fire some blanks just to watch him crawl. And I'll load up with live ammunition and blow away Sears. It'll really be bitchin'. Everybody thinks that I'm just nuts. Nobody thinks that I got guts. When I pull the trigger, they'll be shocked and stunned. Screw up. I got a gun. Said you're not our kind. When I mow a few down, it might change your mind. Call out the SWAT team, I'm not afraid. I might write a book, man, I got it made. Every dog has his day in the sun. I did it my way. I bought a gun. From the back of a magazine, there it was, page 47, Soldier of Fortune magazine. Hey, tired of being called a wimp? When you're at the ball game, do nuns push you out of line? Does your own mom call you to dinner by saying, hey, wuss, soup's on? It's in 1995. I bought a gun, and it's fun. I bought a gun, and it's fun. If I could just get someone to help me buy bullets.
That was Robert Aquayo singing his heart out for 13,000 people live at Laughs in the Park back in August of 1991. Man, you just heard some great stand-up comedy from local favorite Bentoni, longtime professional Steve Bruner, radio DJ and TV personality Paul Robbins, and comic musician Robert Aquayo. What's really fun is that this comedy was really fun and vibrant back in 1991, and it's still out there today. And I'm just so happy that we have this podcast to share it with you. Hey, thanks for listening. Be sure to tell your family and friends. And if you get a chance, support the show through Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. We'll see you next week when we'll have another terrific interview. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Stand-Up Comedy, your host and MC. For information on the show, merchandise, and our sponsors, or to send comments to Scott, visit our website at www.standupyourhostandmc.com. Look for more episodes soon and enjoy the world of stand-up comedy. Visit a comedy showroom near you.